you got to get a hat, and you got every time you see a new cereal in the aisle, just turn it back like that's the one. You know, get the battle music and all that stuff. Yeah.
We really, you've thought about this, and I appreciate that about you.
Yeah, I think a lot about a lot of weird such things like that. Like, you know, that's why they probably don't let me into the cereal aisle anymore, because I was throwing Pokeballs at the Pokemon cereal and it didn't do anything.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another edition of Let's Get Cereal, the weekly show where I, your host, Alyssa Marino, eat cereal, talk about stuff, and sometimes talk to people.
I'm people. Oh my goodness, I'm finally people. Yes.
For my breakfast buddies that are not aware, I have with me today my dear friend and wrestle cousin, English ring announcer for New Japan's Lions Break Collision, for United Wrestling Network and NWA's Primetime Live, for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, the handsome voice himself, Adnan Kureishy. Hello, my friend.
Hello there, Alyssa. I'm so happy to be here for Let's Get Cereal, because some people don't really know this. We actually did a Let's Get Cereal at the beginning of 2020. Actually, the date was January 4th, because it was at last at Santino Brothers when we did it. It is a lost episodes of sorts. And funny enough, right, I still have the cereal box itself from the episode of Let's Get Cereal we did that never came out. And here's what I didn't realize that was in the box. I still held on to the plastic spoon that you had used too. So, but yeah, we had the Plus Ultra cereal when I was only a vague fan of My Hero Academia, and now I'm a huge fan of My Hero Academia. So, but it was a good cereal that, unfortunately, if you were at that Instagram Live, you got a rare lost treasure of Let's Get Cereal. But today we're going to do a different cereal. Isn't that right, Alyssa?
We are. Would you like to show our breakfast buddies at home? We'll do a little drum roll.
All right. And today we will be the best like no one ever was, as we will be having this lovely Pokemon cereal, a berry bolt flavor. Look how cute Pikachu is on the front there. Chilling.
I love Pikachu so much. And did you notice on the back, we actually have an evolution confusion game? Oh, wait.
Oh,
different?
Yours is different. I got grass types. You got water types.
Okay.
That's
cool.
Okay. That's cool. I didn't know that.
I did not realize that either, and that's a really charming detail. Way to go, Pokemon cereal. So let's tear into this.
There's enough Pokemon to make, like, I'm sure you could, like, do a specific, like, activity for, like, every box, like, if you really wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Oh, okay. These are like little puffball. It's, you know, it's funny. It's similar to the Plus Ultra cereal we did in back, you know, in January of 2020.
It's like the universe knew we were going to be making up for that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. I don't know about you. I got like not very many marshmallows. It's mostly
Same. I have mostly puffs, which I'm actually not mad about. A lot of the time, I actually prefer less marshmallows in my cereal.
Okay.
But
the marshmallows are shaped like Pikachu to some degree, or as marshmallow cereals tend to try to say, like, yeah, it's Pikachu. It's just like a yellow, misshapen.
I think I have a lightning bolt.
Oh, you might. It's like a lightning bolt or like his tail.
All right, I'm gonna try and get. Okay, I have my lightning bolt piece with my little berry.
Okay, yeah. I've got one piece in here too. Yep.
Okay. My friends, my wrestle cousin Adnan Kureishy, Pokémon cereal. Let's get cereal.
That is indeed a berry cereal, if I've ever had one.
I will say though, not as overwhelmingly berry. Like, I was expecting it to be like berry kicks, and it wasn't actually that overwhelmingly berry, which is kind of nice.
You know what was an odd berry cereal? If you remember, I gifted you that Super Mario cereal.
Mm-hmm.
And like that was actually like a berry flavored cereal, which was actually kind of strange when you looked at the cereal.
I still have that cereal box because it
has amiibo functionality in the box. Like you could actually use it with Super Mario Odyssey, which was a cool thing. It didn't really do much. All it did was give you like a couple of coins, so it's like nothing. But it's still kind of cool that it does it.
It's still interactive, which I think is pretty fantastic. Speaking of this cereal box, I feel like I know half of these in their first form. And I'm just kind of going off of what I think looks right. So I would say Totodile.
Totodile.
Would go to Crocodile.
Yep. Crocodile.
To Feraligatr.
For alligator. Yep.
For alligator. Obviously, Squirtle. To Wartortle. To Blastoise,
right.
Obviously.
Yep. Everybody should know that. Yep.
Please. Piplup is adorable. I'm gonna go phonetically. Primplup.
Yeah.
To okay, hold on. Now I'm between.
You have two left down there.
Inteleon and Empoleon. Okay, wait. Empoleon, because Inteleon looks like Drizzile. Drizzile. And that's just Sobble.
You're right. You know, here's the thing. Like also like Empoleon is like an emperor penguin and Piplup is like a penguin Pokemon. So
makes sense.
The thing. Get to realize like things like that. And like I've been out of the Pokemon game for a while. Like I'm really knowledgeable up to Gen 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I could figure out. So we got like, our Gen 1, our lovely Gen 1 Bulbasaur here. Everybody knows Bulbasaur goes to Ivysaur, and then Ivysaur evolves into Venusaur. I think I played this gen, whichever one had Trico, because what was the starters for Gen 2? It was like Cyndaquil and Chikorita, and Chikorita's not on the back here, it's the grass, and the water one was Totodile, which is the one on your box. But I know Trico goes into Servine and then ends up as Sceptile. Oh, no, wait. No, I totally get it. No, sorry. Trico goes into Grovyle, then Sceptile. And then it's Sneevee that goes into Servine, and then into Serverier, and then Grookey, which is like the new generation, I think, from like Sword and Shield, which is the one on the Switch. Grookey goes into this Thwacky, and then Rillaboom. So we're basically only missing a box of fire Pokemon starters. We have grass and we have water. It's the only one we're missing.
I really feel like I just want a job naming Pokemon because they have some real doozies. Last week, they just celebrated 25-year anniversary. So follow-up question for you, my friend. How old do we feel?
It's, it's a trip because, like, you think about that, and it's a like Nintendo with Mario last year just did Mario 35. This year's also Zelda 35. Like, not to date us at all, but we are somewhere between the age range of how old Mario and how old Pokemon are, basically. And it's a trip to think about like how Pokemon was this huge phenomenon in like the mid to late 90s, and like how big it became, not just in Japan but all over the world. I mean, it was a period in time where you couldn't go anywhere without like seeing Pokemon in some form or fashion. I remember like going on those old websites and seeing like the contests for like, there was like a thing with like Gold and Silver when that was coming out where they had like the Volkswagen Beetles that were painted like the Gold and Silver cartridges kind of or something like that, and they kind of looked like the Pokemon itself, which was dope. And like you'd go to the movies and then they'd give you one of the like the trading cards and stuff. I still have all of my trading cards.
No way.
Yeah, I have a stupid amount of energy cards because I bought so many decks. So I have like just a binder that's just energy cards. But I have all my holos. I have all that stuff still. As far as like my cards when I was collecting, because I collected like a lot of the Gen 1 stuff, and I started collecting into Gen 2 stuff, and then I kind of fell off as far as collecting cards from there.
Did you collect for the sake of collecting, or did you collect and actually play?
I played before. I tried playing when it came out, and I did play in like a Toys R Us Pokemon League, which is like a thing where you'd get up on Saturday mornings and you'd go to the Pokemon League at the Toys R Us, and then like, and then you'd play cards against people, you get enough points and you could actually earn badges and stuff. The only problem about that is I was late to every one because for some stupid reason they had the time for the Pokemon League like when there was also a new episode of Pokemon going on the WWE in the morning. You're like, who designed this? Like of course I'm going to be late. There's a new episode of Pokemon going on. Like,
Terrible planning. That actually brings me to my next question about what Adnan was like as a kiddo. What was a typical Saturday morning? Maybe not a Pokemon League Saturday morning, but what was a typical Saturday morning like for you?
it was, there was definitely a healthy amount of Pokemon. There was like, whatever. Like, I remember, it's funny, I just had this discussion with somebody about like, there was all the Saturday morning stuff. Like, I was a huge Power Rangers kid, loved Power Rangers. And then like, Ninja Turtles and the Batman cartoon and stuff like that, and Batman Beyond. But there was a show me and some friends of mine were reminiscing about the other day that his friend was trying to remember what it was, and I both it's like it was like this martial arts show where they'd be fighting and they'd be like around a dome and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, you're talking about WMAC Masters. WMAC Masters was this like martial arts show where it had all these cool martial artists, and they'd have these fights and stuff that took place in like temples and like subways and stuff, and they were fighting for like the Dragon Star. And the thing is, everybody on the show were real martial artists, and then there was these cheesy acting parts that were between like all the fights and stuff, because you can clearly tell that they are legit martial artists, but they are not legit actors, and that's what makes it even better.
Okay.
You could look up like their credentials, because one of them, like the guy who was Hakeem Alston, the Machine, he's in the first Mortal Kombat movie. He's like the guy like Sonya fights like early on, if I remember. Tony or Liu Kang fights like super early on, but he's on that show as like the Machine. So he's probably like the best actual actor out of all of them, but like everybody else is just a straight good martial artist, but not necessarily a good actor. It was very similar to wrestling, and it was like hosted by like Shannon Lee, Bruce Lee's daughter. And it was like, you had like the Machine, you had Olympus, you had Great Wolf, you had my favorite was Tsunami, because he like never won. So it was like guys like that. It was really a cool show.
Lots of good television for the Saturday morning kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be television of Saturday morning cartoon stuff, and of course, like, back being a kid, either Super Nintendo or N64 stuff, that'd be playing like either a Pokemon type game or a Mario type game or something like that. Like, video games were a huge part of me growing up, and just not even just there, but also until my adulthood.
Something that I think has also followed you from childhood into adulthood has been wrestling. What are some of your earliest wrestling memories and earliest influences that you can kind of think back to?
I always remember the first thing that I saw in wrestling, because it confused me. And I think that's why I was sort of intrigued. Was I remember the first thing I ever saw was Doink the Clown. And I didn't understand, like, I don't remember who he was wrestling or whatnot. I just remember being super confused as to seeing, a clown like in a fight and just beating people up and stuff like that, and getting beat up. And I'm just like, what is going on? What is this? And I didn't end up start watching wrestling then, but that was the first wrestling memory I had. The first like real bit of wrestling I remember watching, and then that's when I got hooked and started watching like from week to week. It was an episode of Monday Night Raw where the main event was for the then WWF Tag Team Championship, where Owen Hart and the British Bulldog were defending them against Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels. And Austin and Shawn Michaels win the tag titles that night, but then they're also having communication issues because they ended up feuding with each other during that time too. But I just remember being like so enamored with what I was watching. I was like, oh, I gotta be here again next Monday, and that's basically where it started from there. And obviously, the rest is history in that particular case.
And speaking of history, I am very well acquainted with your journey. You and I actually started in Santino Brothers manager class together.
Yep.
But I'm very curious, because you've been so busy through the year of 2020. I'm curious if you can share how you went from a last minute crew member for Super J Cup in 2019 to now ring announcing Super J Cup the following year.
That's the coolest thing, like, for me, because what's funny is I remember, like, it wasn't J Cup, but like a couple months before that J Cup, I remember running into you because you were helping out, I think, at Fighting Spirit Unleashed at the same venue. And I just remember, like, I knew some people who were working with New Japan, and I knew that's where I wanted to be. And, we were taught the same values. It's like, if it's somewhere you want to be, see what you can do to get in there. Even if it's not something that you want to do necessarily, it's a foot in the door, And I remember, like, asking the people I knew who were associated with New Japan here, because we're fortunate enough to live not too far away from the LA dojo here in California, where I am. So I knew people who were at the dojo, and I'd ask them about, like, hey, how do I get in to help out, something like that, whatnot. And they're like, you probably ask this person, ask this person. So I was bothering, a few people about it. And I asked, like, hey, when J Cup, when we're doing J Cup, you guys are doing J Cup for 2019, because that was an infamous one, because it was one of Liger's last shows in the U.S. before Liger retired just a few months later. They were touring from, I believe it was Washington, then it was like NorCal, then it was SoCal in Long Beach, and they were at the Walter Pyramid. And I asked like, "Hey, I'm available if you guys need an extra hand or anything of the such or whatnot." He's like, and my contact was all like, "Yeah, I'll keep you in mind for sure." And it was like, okay. And then like a couple days, before the show, I hit him up again. I'm like, "Hey, did you need help at Long Beach?" He's like, "No, I think we got it covered, but I'll definitely keep you in mind for the next one." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." So I bought a ticket because I still wanted to see Liger before he retired, and I bought a ticket with a friend of mine. It's like, cool. So we are going to go to the Super J Cup in 2019. And then literally like I wake up the morning of and I get an email from one of my contacts going, "Hey, are you still available? If so, can you be at the venue at this time?" And I'm just like, and I'm woken up past the time because I didn't need to wake up. And I'm just like, "Oh!" I'm just like screaming, and I'm just like, "Oh!" And I call my friend. I'm all like, "Hey, we might need to find someone else for my ticket because I might be helping out." And so we find like his wife ends up taking my ticket. I hit up my contacts like, "Oh yeah, we could still use help. Just show up as soon as you can." I'm like, "Cool." And then it was also a matter of like me trying to get into the building and not be like, "I'm not sneaking in. I've been asked to help. No, really, please." And then running into someone I knew going, "Oh yeah, he's with us." Like, cool. And then helping out, yeah, so crewing. And so that day I ended up, helping with the ring stuff, and ended up doing like a little bit of merch and kind of like a little bit of security type stuff. So I did a lot of different things on that particular day at the Super J Cup, which was, a really good experience, which led then to me then helping out with, other that's kind of when they knew like, oh, this guy's reliable. So they ended up being on merchandise for the Showdown tour and for Lions Break Project 2. And then the pandemic happens. And then it's like, nothing's going on, but I just remember getting this text message. Like, so this is like 3 months into the pandemic or something like that. And I get this text message from a number I don't know going, "Hi, Adnan, this is such and such from New Japan. We were wondering if you were interested in ring announcing for us." And it's like, yes, yep, good, yep, So that's when that started. And I was doing Lions Break Collision and New Japan Strong, which is on every Friday night on njpwworld.com. And, during that time period, we were going to put on the Super J Cup in 2020. Pandemic be damned. We did it. And that's when I got the opportunity to be the ring announcer for Super J Cup 2020, which was super surreal. That like just a year before I was last minute crew, and then the year after it's me announcing, Leo Rush and Clark Connors and Blake Christian and Chris Bay, El Phantasmo and JCH, TJP and Ray Horace. But it was such a really dope experience then to like, kind of like reflect on the fact that I was doing the J Cup in 2020 after being just a last minute substitute and help out. And it's like another one of those like full circle like reflection moments of like how far I've come.
You've had a lot of full circle reflection moments where
yeah I love that stuff.
From replicating photos that you took as a fan, can you think of some of your most memorable photo recreations that you've done?
I think it's it's funny because like when we're speaking about New Japan, like I was like am still to some degree one of the biggest Rocky Romero fans, and like and then I'm essentially working with Rocky Romero throughout this whole time and getting that picture with Rocky like before, like when I was still a fan, and then after working with him, and now I'm in a full suit and stuff like that. So those are cool. Or like the one you were there for at Primetime Live, the very first Primetime Live when we had Mike and Maria Kanellis on. And I remember I met Maria Kanellis in like 2007 during a SummerSlam thing. So I'm like 18 in that moment. And then all of a sudden, like, 13 years goes by, and I'm working with Maria on a show. And it was just like such a trip to see like, oh man, like I have this picture from when I was like, just out of high school, and now here's me working with this person later in life. So there's so many cool ones when I think about like everything that's happened with me in life, and that's why I think it's cool to have those moments, like tweeting at Kevin Kelly, like at the beginning of when we started our wrestling journey, just trying to get advice, and then like working with Kevin Kelly, like during this whole New Japan thing, and telling him like, hey, you gave me advice, and here I am. He's all like, well, it's a good thing that you took the advice type moments, you know what I mean?
Now, speaking of more wrestling things, so I know that Championship Wrestling from Hollywood has started taping again. So I'm very curious if you can share when and where folks will be seeing you next.
Soon. I don't remember the dates. It's it is sometime in this month, in the month of March. New episodes will start airing again with the stuff that we had shot. I can tell you that. So I would say, keep your eyes peeled. I believe this weekend is probably still going to be some matches that were filmed for Primetime Live, which has been happening on some previous ones as we've been, kind of on hiatus when, the pandemic got worse again. But I think, sometime this month for sure. I just don't remember the date. It's not this weekend. Possibly the next weekend is when new episode, like brand new original episodes of Championship Wrestling from Hollywood will start airing again. Yeah, for sure.
The great thing is that you are always fantastic at promoting things that you are involved in, and even things that you're not really involved in. So I want to make sure that we drop down below your social media so that folks can make sure that they are following along.
At the Dashing Adnan on Twitter and Instagram. You can TheDashingAdnan on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can follow me for all your handsome voice needs. You can catch me every Friday nights on New Japan World and jpwworld.com on New Japan Strong, which this particular Friday and these Fridays for the upcoming month of March are going to be the Strong Style Evolve Tour. So we're on the road to Strong Style Evolve and the 2021 New Japan Cup USA, as well as what we were talking about with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, which if you're in the Los Angeles area is 1 a.m. on KDOC on Saturday nights. But if you're not, no worries. You can watch it anytime you want for free on Fight TV. Just look up CWFH on Fight TV, and you can watch the entire catalog of Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. That's 500 plus episodes of amazing wrestling with names that you've seen now, like a Scorpio Sky or a Peter Avalon or like Willie Mack or even an Alyssa Marino, when she was a Kathy Campanelli before she went back to using her actual name.
I want to take it back because I want to, again, we talk about these full circle moments.
Take it back.
We talk about these full circle moments. So I want to take it back to Pokemon. So
you got to catch them all. Because you got to be the very best, like no one ever was. So,
to catch them is my real quest.
Test. Yeah, to catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause.
So we talk about these full circle moments. We're taking it back to Pokemon as we draw our episode to a close.
Yes.
I feel like every kid that watches Pokemon imagines what it would be like to have their very own pet Pokemon.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I think we all daydreamed about it in some form or another. I always wanted to have a Vulpix. I just thought that would have been the coolest thing. So I was curious if you could have any Pokemon in your entourage, just as you walk down the street or as you go up to ring announce, who would your Pokemon be?
My favorite Pokemon growing up was always Ditto, because I always liked the idea that, you had this Pokemon that was essentially every Pokemon, really, because it could transform and stuff like that. That idea. Did you see Detective Pikachu? Did you end up seeing that movie?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That ended up becoming way creepier when the twist of the Ditto actually shows up in that movie, and you're like, oh god, it's just like so. But even still, a Ditto, I feel would be super dope to have. You just have this little pink blob with you who can transform into just about anything you want or anything it needs to, or just the idea that Ditto in the anime would mess up and the face would always look like a Ditto even if it looked like another Pokemon. So that was always the funny thing. Yeah, that was even a thing they implemented in Pokemon Snap. I remember playing on the N64. It was you'd play it and then you'd know, it's oh, it's Bulbasaur's, and then you look this Bulbasaur has a weird face, and then you could find a way to change it back, and then it'd be a Ditto or something like that. Which I'm super excited. Even though I've been out of the Pokemon loop for a while, I am super excited that there is a brand new Pokemon Snap coming to the Switch. And because that's even if I don't know what I'm looking at, it looks so cool to almost be on a safari again, and then have this ability to just take pictures. It's a very tranquil gaming experience compared to so many gaming experiences that you could have. You know what I mean? So, but definitely, I feel out of all the Pokemon, would probably be a Ditto, just because I've always had this soft spot in my heart for Ditto.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, when you think about it, it's the best of all Pokemon.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Versatile.
So if you were to have a Vulpix, then would you then just have the regular Vulpix, or would you have a Alolan form, which is the Ice Vulpix?
Oh no, regular Vulpix.
Just a regular old little red-tailed, orange-tailed little thing.
They're so cute.
And it becomes so elegant when you turn it into a Ninetales.
I feel like my thing with Pokemon is that I just wouldn't want it to grow up. Like, oh my god, you're so precious and sweet, but like now you're super powerful. So
well, the thing with Vulpix was it needed a Firestone, so it could not evolve on its own. You would have to make the choice to actually evolve a Vulpix.
I didn't know that, and now I do. So
yeah, that was always the certain things about Pokemon evolutions for the uninitiated is that certain Pokemon only evolve like with the use of a stone, either a Fire Stone or a Water Stone or something like that. Some evolve just by getting stronger, and some, which is the weirdest one to me, is evolved by trading. Like if you trade it to somebody else, then it just evolves. Because that was the case with Graveler into Golem and Machoke into Machamp is their trade evolution. So I always thought that was weird. But like everybody on the playground would trade would typically just trade to somebody and then trade them back. It's not like you just like it's like cool, now I got him back, now he's just the next form. That was even a plot in like the anime when Ash is like traded his Butterfree for like Eradicate, and then he's all like, oh man, wish I had Butterfree still, and he has to convince the guy to give him his Butterfree back.
Tricky Pokemon training.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? It's that time. Bottoms up.
Bottoms up. Now the berry milk, that's pretty good.
I never do just milk. Like I have to have some cereal pieces left in there. But this has a delicious taste, lovely consistency. Even with us chatting so much, I don't feel like it got soggy, which I like. I would totally choose to eat the cereal again.
You would choose the cereal again, eh?
Cereal again.
Pokemon Cereal, I choose you.
Anna, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today and for getting cereal again. I think that we more than made up for the lost episode.
I think so too, and then you know me, I'm always willing to hit cereal with my favorite wrestle cousin. I mean, there's so much cereal out in the world, and it just keeps expanding. I mean, like it's we get the Pokemon cereal here. I texted you a picture of a Minecraft cereal. We had the My Hero cereal. There's all these like novelty things that you never would have like thought about before until like now they exist. It's just like the coolest thing.
It's very true. It's like Pokemon themselves, where we just keep adding new ones.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta eat them all.
Gotta eat them all. I love that.
Maybe one day you will eat them all, Alyssa. I have faith that you can be the very best.
To eat them is my cause.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? My friend, thank you again for tuning in, for me and Adnan just shooting the breeze over here. Until next time, continue to do your best to be your best. And we will see you later.